Hey there, web developers. In today's tutorial, we're going to create a button hover and click effect that will make your website feel interactive and dynamic. Imagine this. You've just finished a long day of coding, and then, bam, you hover over a button and it reacts. That's the magic we'll create together today. And guess what? This effect isn't just cool, it's also really easy to implement. So, if you've ever wondered how to add a little interactive flair to your buttons, this tutorial is for you. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you love coding as much as I do, because let's be real, who doesn't love a smooth button effect? Alright, let's get started. Now, let's jump into the HTML. We won't be adding much HTML in this case, just the essentials. We start with the button element. This is where the magic happens. Inside the button, we've added a span with the class key button, which will hold the text, enter. This is the clickable part of the button, the one that will change when hovered and clicked. To summarize, our HTML structure consists of the button element, which serves as the container, and the span with the class key button, which holds the text and will be the main focus of the hover and click effects. And that's it. Simple, but effective. Now, let's preview it in the browser and see how it looks. Just a plain button for now. Alright, now let's dive into the fun part, the CSS. First off, we define some root variables for the button's radius, white and black colors. This allows us to make the code cleaner and easier to tweak later on. Let's add the CSS rules. Body selector. We start with the body selector. We set the background to this color. We define a height of 100 VH to make sure it covers the entire viewport. Then we set display flex so that we can easily center the content. We justify the content to center to space it evenly. Finally, we align the items to center, so everything stays in the middle. And we set the font family to Poppins for a nice clean look. Now let's move on to the button selector. We set the font size to 17 pixels for a readable size. We set the font weight to bold to make the text stand out. We remove the border with none so there's no outline around the button. Then, we set the border radius using our root variable -btn radius, which will round the corners of the button. Lastly, we set the background to this color using our root variable, which will give the button a dark background. Next, we target the key button selector. This is the key part that we will apply styles to, making the button interactive. We set display block, which makes the span take up the full width of the button. Then, we add box sizing border box. This ensures that padding and borders are included in the element's total width and height. Now we add border radius var-btn radius. This makes the corners of the button rounded, and var-btn radius will be a custom variable you define in your CSS. Now we add padding of 0.75 em for the top and bottom, and 1.5 em for the left and right. This gives our button some internal space, making it look nice and balanced. We set the background to var-white, meaning the button's background color will be the value you assign to the variable -white. Now we use transform translate -0.2 em, which shifts the button slightly upward on the page. This gives it a subtle 3D effect. To make the transition smooth, we add a transition transform 0.1 seconds ease, meaning the movement when the button is hovered or clicked will be smooth and quick. Now let's move on to the hover effect. When the button is hovered, we target the key button element inside the button. We add transform translate -0.33 em, which shifts the button a little more upward when it's hovered, giving it a lifted look. Next, we target the button when it's active, which happens when the button is clicked. We again target key button inside the button and set transform, translate Y0. This means when the button is clicked, it will return to its original position, creating a pressing effect. That's all for the CSS. Let's quickly review. We use display block, box sizing border box, border radius, padding, background, transform, transition, and the hover and active states to create an interactive, dynamic button that reacts to user interaction. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more web development fun. I hope you had as much fun coding this button effect as I did. See you in the next video, and as always, happy coding.